I'm Ben Glass, and I'm a practicing personal injury and medical malpractice attorney in Virginia, and I've been doing that for almost 30 years now.
You know what occurs to me? Just for safety's sake for you, when you come to these meetings, you should sit next to the pastor. Because that would give you some, protection from lightning strikes and bursting into flame and stuff.
Actually, we can usually find someone to blame for lightning strikes and bursting into flame.
Oh, and sue them. Yeah, okay.
So I used to measure Dan's temperature by how many minutes into an event it was before he told a lawyer joke, and he's getting better. So my journey here is interesting because it sort of followed the traditional lawyer path. You get out of law school and you work for somebody else, and I did that for 12 years. And my family was growing. My family's now 9 kids. There's about 4 of them. And I had about an hour and 15-minute commute each way. And it was getting to a point where it was difficult to coach soccer teams and show up at practices and all that sort of stuff. And I was pretty good at what I did, and I'm still good at what I do. And so it dawned on me that how hard could it be to start your own law firm? So after 12 years of doing that, I left that firm, went out to much closer to my house, started a firm with 1 assistant, and did the traditional things. I looked around to see what other lawyers do to market their practices. I did a bunch of that. And after 3 years, the practice was I was taking golf lessons on Thursday morning, and we were taking half a day off on Friday, not because I was living the life of affluence, but because we didn't have enough work to do. And I was
that sounded really good, until
yeah. Well, so one day I get the letter in the mail, and it's from Nightingale Conant, and I was a customer there, and I bought the $40 for 6 tapes back then, sort of sets from them. And I get this letter advertising a thing called magnetic marketing for $300, and it's a long sales letter, like we just discussed, and it's all about having people be so attracted to you and breaking loose of the clutter and not doing what everyone else in your practice or business is doing. And $300 was a lot of money, but I sent my money in, and a week later this box comes, and I open it up, and it come with a full money-back guarantee. And I look at this box of photocopied paper in this 3-ring binder, and I think, I'm not gonna cheat. I'm not gonna take it and photocopy and send it back. I'm just sending the darn thing back because there couldn't be anything useful here. Now with the box came about 6, I almost said CDs, but it was cassettes. And I wasn't gonna open the box, but I listened to the cassettes. I wasn't gonna copy them, but I was gonna listen to them. And this guy, Dan Kennedy, is talking about lead generation. I'd never heard that term before. Widgets, JVs. I didn't understand most of what he talked about, but there was something in those tapes that said to me, as he talked about other ordinary businesses, and he told stories of a plumber who came to his house and brought a tape that he listened to and upsold him. I thought, I don't know what this guy is talking about, but if I could just figure it out, it would revolutionize my life. So listening to the audio tapes then led me back into the material, which I went through 3 times, and I was so engrossed. And so the very first thing I did after all that is I went and I invested in everything that I could find that Dan had done, because now I was into it. And I joined Glazer Kennedy, and we were talking about, actually I joined before it was Glazer Kennedy. We were talking earlier this morning. It's been about 15 years. So 3 years into my own practice, having failed at every marketing campaign where the answer from the vulture was you should have just bought more, I started to create free reports, books, information, and then completely changed the sort of sales message. And if everyone who's listening to this will know the sales message of every personal injury attorney is, if you're hurt, call us now. No fee if no recovery. Free consultation. We'll get you all the money you deserve, and we'll share it with you. And I figured I could either play in that field, which I didn't have enough money to play in, or I could change things. And so we changed our whole message to essentially, if you've been hurt, you may not need an attorney. Completely different message. Before you talk to the adjuster, hire an attorney or sign any forms, come get our free information. And so by relentless studying of what Dan was doing, developed that unique irresistible offer, which caused people to call us, to lower the barrier, to call us, to get the information first, put them on long follow-up sequences, discovered that our best clients sign with us from 4 to 12 months after they enter our funnel, took the stuff that we made, created CD versions of it, DVD versions of it, everything that we could do, and revolutionized the practice. I now employ about a dozen people, 2 other lawyers, and I took what I had learned and was using in my practice, and about almost 8 years ago now, created a company called Great Legal Marketing. See, one of the other things I did is, in the beginning, is I went out and looked at this. Surely somebody else must have taken Dan's stuff and this direct response philosophy and changed it into lawyer talk. There were some products out there. There was always sort of a major disconnect in the language that was used because these guys weren't, by and large, practicing lawyers. There's one, Bill Hammond had done it very well in the sort of elder care area. But the non-lawyers who were trying to do it, there was disconnect there. So at Dan's encouragement, took what we were doing and created Great Legal Marketing. It's a membership organization. We have everything from our mastermind group down to different various coaching levels. And what we do is we help solo and small firms as primary our market. So firms of 5 lawyers or fewer who are typically competing in a market against a big gorilla who's on every billboard, every bus, every TV station, and all day long on the radio. And we teach them these principles, which is change your message, have follow-up, have an educational message. And it really has changed my life. So 9 kids now, really 2 full-time businesses, employ a bunch of people, but it's so much more fun. It's so much more fun to be renegade, to irritate others in the profession, which we do, because I get that mail too. But to have now developed a group of lawyers across the United States and Canada who get it, who like doing this stuff, who go to their communities now. And one of the cool things that we're doing, this is important to lawyers, their image has been, by their own doing, their image has been shot over the years by the type of advertising that most of them do. And little by little, we're changing that image in communities. And what people say to our lawyers is, you sound different. You are different. I trust you at the beginning. So you can see how we do it in the practice at benglasslaw.com, and you can see what we do for lawyers at greatlegalmarketing.com.
You know, there's a powerful price lesson that has broad application in your sourcing to me. So, as you said, you got material from Nightingale Conant, and pretty much at the time, almost everything they were selling that you were used as a customer of theirs to seeing was at a $49 to $59 price point. The typical product of the time was 6 audio cassettes. Today it would be 6 CDs in an album with a little workbook, and sort of the pricing norm of the day was $10 a tape. And actually it hasn't, in their world, it hasn't migrated up very much over all of these years. And so all of a sudden in that environment, a $399 price, most would think, gee, I can't in that environment be at 8 to 10 times the price and be successful. And yet that was a very successful campaign, by the way. We didn't just get you. It was a very successful campaign. And it has broad application, in a lot of areas. Somebody the other day, I think yesterday, we were talking about in dentistry, Invisalign, which are the clear braces. And somebody said, oh yeah, those are $5,000. And I said, yeah, but I have a client whose average case is $9,000. And she's surrounded by other practices doing Invisalign at $4,000 to $5,000. And so it is a powerful price lesson there for everybody, is not to feel bound by the price environment you're in, but to create, through all the kind of marketing that you just talked about and that we talked about, a sales in a vacuum opportunity.